Oh, I'm recording. Okay, here we go. Alright, hey guys, it's Gulius, come back for another Pubcast. This is numero 3, I believe. Oh my god, that's loud. Hold up now. Let's turn that down. Let's real quick change these settings so I don't use the camera like a total idiot. And today's cast is going to be a little bit more, chill. I know I got the AC going in the background, so it's a little, might be a little bit annoying, but hopefully not too dreadful. But if it annoys you, then go to another video and watch their professionalism, because mine is minimal, and I'm okay with it. Alright, so let's hop into some Dota. I chose this game, my friend recommended it to me because there's a 6.85 Terrorblade, and I really want to see that. I also kind of want to see Pudge, how he does with his updated Rot. So we will see Pudge actually coming in and contesting the rune with Ember Spirit. They should get the kill here, I think, with this new Rot. The Legion Commander trying to juke, but the Shackles from Shadow Shaman also got a buff recently. Going to be enough to kill the Legion Commander with that fancier concept. So let's go into the rosters. As of right now, we have Terrorblade farming the top lane for the Dire. We have Ogre Magi probably going to be supporting that top lane. Going to be flying out what looks like some Sentry Wards for the Clinks. We have TA going to be versing Ember Spirit up in the middle. And we're going to have a pause. I'm going to fast forward through this real quick. Let's go fast. Okay, some BM coming out. Alright. We've got our Legion Commander in the bottom lane going up against the Slark. That might be a solo lane for both sides, as it looks like we're going to have Roaming, Pudge, and Shadow Shaman for the Radiant team. Their mid, of course, being the Ember Spirit, some BM coming out, and their offlane being the Clinks. They also have a Roaming Bounty Hunter on the Dire side, maybe looking to get a Courier Snipe with this ward posted down in middle. Now, Bounty Hunter could be punished by the roaming duo of the Radiant, but it doesn't look like they are carrying any detection at this time, just a lot of regen to allow them to rotate even more. Ogre Magi doing some nice dewarding with that Sentry, and probably going to use the other Sentry to keep Clinks at bay from getting farm, but he really also needs to get some pulls off in order to get this lane equilibrium back in their favor. Legion Commander could be at risk from a Shackle from Shadow Shaman if she's not careful. She runs into the tree, starts to juke. Pudge could catch her off around the outside. Yeah, Shadow Shaman pings it. Is he going to get there in time? No, he doesn't block her unless the Shackles come out. Oh, he does actually get it. I don't think they have enough damage, and Pudge is in tower range. He could actually go down himself. Yeah, so that's going to be a worthy trade for Legion. He got like a level and a half off that. And not even going to die. Ooh, Shadow Shaman, right click. 50 damage. Only 2 armor on the LC. Pretty low armor, so going to be enough to kill her. Terrorblade here starting off with the Basilius and a lot of regen. Might be a little bit overkill in the regen, although he is versus Clinks who can harass pretty decently with his Searing Arrows. Not really a lot of kill potential, just a lot of harass, so those tangos are there to support him. TA gets the Bounty Rune on the top lane, and a DD still just sitting bottom. Bounty Hunter yet to do much besides sap a little bit of XP. He has not gotten the Courier yet. I don't think it's even left base, has it? No, Ember does not have enough money yet to ferry out his bottle. He needs 1 more or 2 more CS to get that. Looks like he's still not going to get it. That's pretty late for him. We'll follow Pudge for a moment while I bring up the last hits and denies. Terrorblade really pulling ahead of everybody else in this game. And the 2 mids are about even. With the off lanes, I would say with the kill that Legion ended up getting, are probably even as well. Clinks not getting zoned out too much. Legion not getting zoned out too much. Actually, it might start to kind of fall behind here. Shadow Shaman does his job. We'd expect Clinks to get more because he only has Ogre to really deal with, and Terrorblade a little bit, who won't bring out too much harass as compared to a Shadow Shaman and a Slark and a Pudge that can really actually have kill potential on the LC. Maxing overwhelming odds, definitely the best choice of build here. That skill with its new reduced cooldown is just great for spamming out waves and doing lots of damage to the opposing carry. Slark, of course, has enough regen, and he's also got his Shadow Dance while I'm blabbering off. Ember actually dies in the mid to TA. So TA's now got enough for her boots as well. So she's going to be doing just fine and dandy in the mid, and she's going to get the 4-minute rune top lane. So she's going to be quite happy with that. Reflection comes out onto the Clinks. I believe that's what it's called. Yes. And just trying to force him back a little bit. That ability got changed. I think it's now an AoE. Reflect, yeah, near all nearby enemy heroes. It does a lot of damage, but the slow is not as significant. It's a pretty cool change. I like it. It'll make him more team fight based, but Terrorblade's base strength is still going to be his biggest weakness. If he doesn't have that metamorphosis up, he's not too great of a team fighter, and he's still pretty squishy. Should probably pay attention with the camera. Sometimes I go off on a tirade about something and forget to actually watch the Dota. We got some pools going on here in the dire safe lane, starting to bring back that equilibrium. And Terrorblade finally getting control of this lane. Clinks has a decent amount of CS, way more than the LC at this point. Now he's starting to probably go ahead in the net worth. Yes, that's what we want. TA is, of course, atop there, having a solo kill on the Ember, so he's fallen way behind her. You can see she's got Boots, Aquila, and a bottle, while only bottle Poor Man's Shield on the Ember Spirit. Not even level 6 yet. He'll hit it on another creep, but already 7 on the TA. Clinks and Bounty gonna invis, run past each other. Say, hi friend, how are you? Bounty, only level 2. Got a big nerf to his track recently, so he might not be as effective as before. Legion Commander gets turned into a chicken and shackled by the Shadow Shaman. Pounced by Slark, also disconnect, keeping her in place as long as possible. She does heal herself. Pudge actually misses his hook, but I believe she will still go down here. Shadow Shaman should be able to block that path. And chickens her again, and she goes down. Cost them a lot of mana to get that kill. Ogre almost came in to support in time, but it just wasn't enough. He wasn't fast enough. No boots yet on Ogre. He is playing that hard 5 position. Bounty's starting to steal a little bit of XP from the Terrorblade. Not sure if that's the best decision. You want TB to get his levels up as soon as possible. If he's here, he needs to harass the Clinks, which really can't seem to do. Because Clinks is invis and there's no detection on the Bounty. Until he hits that level 6 and gets track. Gonna have a sip of drink here. Delicious. Shadow Shaman, okay, gonna ward the Ancients. It hasn't been stacked at all, but TA, of course, a hero that is notorious for stacking and using those side blades to clear out the stacks. So more of a precautionary measure than anything else. Legion just chilling bottom. Level 5 really wants that 6 to get a duel. And in terms of duel targets, Pudge is actually a pretty decent one. He's got very low armor. If you catch him without Rot, you're probably going to win that duel. Unless he gets tons of stacks of Flesh Heap and gets really lots of strength and really snowballs. Clinks, if he does not have Searing Arrows toggled on, and if he hasn't Dark Pacted or Death Pacted a creep recently, he's very squishy and he's vulnerable to the duels as well. Shadow Shaman also vulnerable. Ember also a great target. Only one who's not a great target is Slark. If he's really farmed, because he's going to be their one position, of course, this game. But is also great to catch him out if he's low. Stop him from going into the Shadow Dance and regaining all of his HP. Bounty finally gets the Courier Snipe. I don't believe they had a Flying Courier. I didn't get to see, but I think that's what cost them their Courier. And TA dies in the mid, and they're going to almost kill the other Courier for the Dire. Pudge missing a hook out on the Ogre Magi, who lives to RNG another day. And a Radiant Sentry Ward sees the Bounty Hunter. He's going to go invis again, but it doesn't matter because the Searing Chains hasn't been placed underneath the Sentry. They get far away, and Pudge just misses that last hook and is unable to finish that kill. Cool set. Legion Commander has hit 6. Let's keep our eyes on her for just a moment and see if she is able to do anything with this level 6. Clinks himself is actually 7. As Terrorblade starts to harass him out of the top lane. Hasn't even popped Metamorphosis yet, so he's just fine in terms of laning. Doing pretty well here against the Clink. Still has his salve as well, got his treads up. So Terrorblade looking pretty up there in net worth with the TA, who, even though she just died, is still atop the charts. The one who's hurting the most here is Ogre. He's finally picked up his boots at 8 minutes, only level 4. I wouldn't call Ogre a super level dependent support, but he definitely benefits from getting those multicasts. and all that skill really factors in later in the game. Terrorblade could be the victim of a gank here. Let's see if Pudge is going to get this hook. He is playing quite scared. Pudge waiting to see if he gets a glimpse. Clink's coming out to farm the lane. Terrorblade knows they're here. He's got to know. They smoke. Smoke instantly broken by the Terrorblade. We're going to go for the hook. There it is! He actually manages to get him, and he's trapped in the trees. But the mirror image reflection coming out, he actually gets the kill! Oh my god, with the reflection, enough damage and the metamorphosis, and they're going to take Clinks down as well. Really good turnaround from the Dire. And look at how big that scary Terrorblade is. He looks awesome with the bloodlust and everything. He is such a freaking cool hero. I love that hero. Legion Commander on the other side of things may go down for the Dire. He could actually turn here if he's feeling ballsy onto the Slark. Does have a salve to bring his HP back up. Slark, of course, has his own manner of regen by not being visible to the Radiant team. Of course, not going to be as fast as a salve at this point in the game. And Legion does not smartly go back and duel or anything, which could end up sacrificing damage to the Slark. You want to be 100% sure you're going to win those duels when you engage in them, so that way you never ever feed duel damage. That's the absolute worst thing you can do. Clink's going to come in Death Pact and Midas, so he's actually going for Midas, aiming to go the late game. They do have an Ember Spirit, so that could be a route for them to go. Don't know how Terrorblade's going to be in the late game anymore with his illusions nerf from a while back, but he still could be quite a threat. with his new reflection, we'll see what he's going for here. Probably a Sanj and Yasha. A good choice. Pudge goes down in the middle, but Bounty Hunter is the trade, and TA going to go down as well, so definitely not worth it for just the Pudge there. He's only got Tranquils. He's playing a position 4, or sorry, position 5, while Shadow Shaman gets the support level farm as a 4 and has the Arcane Roots and is able to afford things like wards and maybe even later a Blink Dagger or an Aghanim Scepter. But he's only level 5 right now, so kind of concerning that he doesn't even have his wards just yet. And he could definitely fall here to a duel perhaps from the Legion. The slow goes out and the duel is engaged. Let's see if a Fire Blast comes through. Ooh! A hook away! The duel is not finished, even though Legion gets the kill. She dies as well, but does not get the duel damage. Ogre in a lot of trouble here, and 4 heroes converge on him. He dies. Bounty, level 5, can't actually finish any of these heroes off. Maybe if he was 6, he could have gotten Slark, or if he was 7 with the Max Shuri, he could have gotten Slark, but not the case for him. TB doing some lane cutting with his poor man's shield. He's got a lot of armor right now, and quite a decent chunk of health now with the Sanj, so he's going to be pushing down this top tower. And the Fortify comes out from the Radiant. Ember Spirit, 1400 gold. He does have the brown boots, could be going for that Boots of Travel first, or could of course build into the standard Battle Fury. But as I talk about it more and more, the Boots of Travel becomes more and more popular, so we'll see what he chooses to go for. TA could go for a Blink, could go for a Desolator. Could go for a BKB. I think the Desolator's pretty good here. A lot of low armor targets for you to take. The Clinks, the Pudge, the Slark himself, Shadow Shaman, Ember are all pretty low armor heroes. And so they could really be destroyed by a Desolator. It would help very much to blow up targets during duel. Of course, Blink is always an amazing item as well. Shadow Shaman just caught out here. He was looking to put down some wards, didn't even get there in time. Ogre thinks he got there, but the sentry going to show that, nope, didn't actually place one down. He thinks maybe he put it on the other side of the river, but Ogre would just be wasting his wards at this point. And Clinks is actually going to find the Ogre. Are they going to engage? Ogre gives a stun to old Clinks, but no multicast, so not a lot of damage coming out on him. Bounty not 6, though. So can't track up the Clinks. Let's see, they're heading towards mid. There is an engagement. And wards coming out from Shadow Shaman, killing the LC, and the TA going to go down from the Clinks. I'm going to try better to keep eyes on the minimap, guys. That's something I need to work on. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're going on a casting journey together. Metamorphosis committed for this top tower. No way it's going to stay up. And booyah, there it goes. So one other thing about Terrorblade now, well, let's see, he's going to get ganked. Let's see what he actually manages to do here. Going to turn on Clinks. Does not have any vision, of course, so he can't actually finish him off. But gets hexed up by Shadow Shaman. And throws out some right clicks. Going to finish off the... Oh, a Shackle right before the end. And if Pudge has Dismember, he does get it off. Ogre Magi not in range to kill the Clinks, and he survives. Slark pounces but misses on the Ogre. Ogre running into his own Legion Commander, which slows him down quite a bit. And Shadow Shaman, could he go down? A duel is ready for Legion. He has lots of targets here. Clinks, if they're able to find him, he is quite a juicy target. Radiance Courier dies to Bounty Hunter. He was at the secret shop. Whoa, what did it have? I'll have to check that in just a moment. Let's see. How do I check that once it's dead? I'm not actually sure. Not sure how I check it. But a 2,000 gold item, I'm going to assume it was a 2,000 gold item from Secret Shop. I think the only one is the Hyperstone. 2,000 exactly. Yeah. Unless it was some weird combination of items, probably a Hyperstone. So S and Y coming out for TB. Stats build, faster than Scotty. Gets you up and running much quicker. And the pieces are easier to build. Ember doesn't have much. That could have been part of his stuff on the bird. We don't know. It could have been his Hyperstone. I doubt it. But it was his something on the bird. Let's see. Can I click the bird here? No. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. For the future, that is something we shall do. So Bounty Hunter does finally have 6. He goes for Arcane Boots. Thankfully, instead of I thought he was going to go Phase, but he needs those Arcanes to constantly stay invisible, constantly throw out tracks, and Shurikens whenever necessary. Clink's pushing in the bot. Really good hero at doing this. Those Searing Arrows do so much damage to towers, and especially if he goes for a Desolate or something like that, he can just destroy them. Now we have TA with a double damage rune. She's got a Mithril Hammer. I'm going to assume that that's the Desolator build and not a BKB this early. I think it's a little bit early to rush a BKB. Maybe second or third item. Probably third item. She might go a Deso into maybe a Blink, and then into a BKB. But we'll have to see if she's getting controlled in these fights. Elsie also picks up a Midas. So these teams are looking to go late game. And with the TB and an Ember Spirit and a Clinks and a Slark, a lot of these heroes can go quite late. Now, Legion is the one who I'm worried about. Of course, the Midas helps her. Yes. But is she going to have the dual damage late game to actually be as effective as other choices for carries, which is something we're going to need to keep our eyes out on in the coming fights. If she gets some dual damage, especially when she hits 11 and starts getting those duels, she can really be a lot more viable in the late game than if she just falls off. Even with her items, she's still not as good as other carries because of her lack of damage. But TA going to get gone on by a multitude of heroes here, Ember Spirit and Clinks, but they haven't finished her off. They do get Ogre, and the Lightning, the Shock, gets the TA before she is able to escape. So a good fight out there from the Radiant team. Pudge looking for a hook maybe on our Bounty, but he is invisible. Oh, goes for it actually. Did they have a Radiant? No, he was going for the area behind the tower, just praying for a hook. Shadow Shaman drops his wards, they get the tower. LC maybe looking to duel the Slark, but just chilling in the woods, gonna regen up quickly and doesn't even care about the harass coming out. They do have a TB factor though. They do have a TB factor. And he's gonna get big. He has had total uncontested free farm, and you can see he stayed atop the net worth, even with this with the Radiant side doing quite good in terms of getting kills and pushing towers. TB is still staying up there, number one. Pudge doing some taunting in the jungle. I like this Pudge play. I don't mind seeing a more 5-position role Pudge. If they're played correctly, they can do quite well in terms of setting up kills for their team. You don't need to get tons of items to be effective as a Pudge. I think that's a pub misconception a lot of the times. Ancient's getting taken out here as a team. Well, the TA doing it, but the team helping her out with a variety of buffs. And looks like they're going to come and try and defend bottom. Pudge throws out a hook, gets an Ogre Magi, and they're going to dismember and get an easy kill on him. Bounty Hunter, he gets dusted, could be the next victim to fall. Is he actually going to go down? No, not yet, but Slark is on the chase. A duel comes out onto the Pudge, and they do get the duel damage onto the LC, just as we had hoped. Bounty Hunter dies to the Slark. Slark with the double damage could pull onto TB, and he actually gets his health swapped with TB from the Sunder and dies. So a good use of Sunder there from TB, keeps himself just barely alive, and gets the kill on the Slark. So a good fight there for the Dire side. They hold their tier 1. Klinks was not there. He's doing Klinks things in the top lane, pushing the tower. Didn't have enough mana the whole time for the Searing Arrows. He did just start working on that Orchid, but he really wanted to get that top tower down. Not going to happen, though. And Elsie got 14 damage from that duel. So she's being happy now. She got a Blink. She's got a Midas. She's going to be looking pretty good. Probably going to be a 4-staff eventually for the Pudge. That's a weird sound for water to make. But gotta keep the voice not totally dead. So immediate duel comes out on Shadow Shaman. A good choice. Because, of course, yes, you want to kill the Klinks. They have the vision. But if he duels the Klinks there, there's no way they get the kill because all the control from the Shadow Shaman won't allow LC to do any damage. They'll just control Klinks for a couple seconds and he'll run away. So definitely the correct choice to duel the Shadow Shaman there. Get some 14 duel damage up to 28. And take out a support, who is also actually one of their big pushing factors with the wards. Klinks can rat, but when it actually comes down to team fighting and pushing as a group, the wards are like their real powerhouse. Deso finished on TA. She actually picks up a Blade of Alacrity, so probably a Manta style coming out next. Maybe a chance of Diffusal. Could be used to purge things like the Flame Guard from Ember Spirit, but I bet it'll be a Yasha into a Manta. So Slark cut out here, does use the Shadow Dance to try and run away. Let's follow him. Reflection stays on him as well, interestingly enough. Does not do damage, of course, during that time as he's untargetable. But he's got Shadow Blade. He can just run away. Normally versus a Bounty Hunter, you don't want to pick up extra invis because, of course, he has the track, and he's going to be looking to track out you. But as a Slark, you can, because all you have to do is Dark Pact it, and then you can Shadow Blade without being tracked, and you have no worry of that. So Shadow Blade an okay pickup in this situation. Radiant pushing the mid, tier 1. That goes down easily with the Deso. Ooh, Pudge getting a hook onto the TA. He might actually pay for that, but going to get multicasted, and TA goes down to the Klinks as well. So a trade, Pudge for TA as of right now. Klinks hiding in the shadows. And the Dire might still want to keep pushing with our giant Terrorblade at the ready in the Metamorphosis. He can do tons of damage to this tower in no time. Will he keep going, though? Ember Spirit, Sleight of Fists, holding them back. Wow. And actually, the push with the Serpent Ward's going to take out... Deny... Nice. Very nice deny from the LC. So, yes, they get the tier 2. Radiant does not get the tier 2. But it is denied, of course, by the Legion Commander. Shadow Shaman votes for an Ags over Blink. He feels they have enough initiation with the Slark and with the Pudge, which I agree with. Klinks and Slark on a ganking spree to Ogre Magi. Bounty Hunter also caught, but there is no dust. Oh, but there's a Sentry Ward, and they do catch him as well. LC blinking in, getting the duel off onto Klinks. I don't know if he can get this kill. He does barely eke out the win, but in the end, is that worth it when you just go and die for it? So Shadow Blade on Slark, gonna go into probably an SNY. SNY or Manta, the choice for Templar. Ogre just got Arcanes and some detection, some wards, being a good support. Doing support stuff. Shadow Shaman on the way to the Ags, lots of Sentry Wards on him. Ember, he's got his bots, he went first, and now he's got his Battle Fury, so his farm will accelerate. TB might have trouble keeping up with him. And we see now the tower advantage and the overall map control for the Radiant is really favoring them in terms of their net worth. Ooh. Big Meld Strike coming out on the Ember. He has to Remnant away quite quickly. Man, he dies fast. So, he's very mobile, of course. He's got the Boots of Travel. He's got the Remnants. But, man, if he gets targeted down, he is just going to die to the physical damage of TA and Terrorblade and LC. So he's got to be real careful when choosing when to engage. Haven't seen Track Gold have too much of an impact. His team is opting for a late game strategy with lots of Midases. Of course, they have a Terror Blade, and so I don't know if Track is going to be that effective early game. It could help them with comeback mechanics later on, of course. And he gets caught out, so no Track Gold for him. TB has the Ultimate Orb, could be a Scotty or a Manta style, both very viable in this hero. Shadow Shaman on his way to the Ags, about 2k gold away, pretty close. Clinks has a Void Stone, perhaps that could be a Sheepstick. Interesting to see. Camera work, hello. Interesting to see a Void Stone first, because he's got a lot of mana regen from the Orchid, so he really shouldn't need more mana regen. Wards go down to secure this tower. It's definitely dead. No chance. But I don't know if they really need the Sheepstick now. I feel like a BKB or a Crit or a Deso would be a better choice. And then he can later transition into the Sheepstick, which is really good on Clinks. It's a great item for pickoffs. But they seem to be getting those ganks anyways, so they don't need that extra damage. He doesn't need the mana regen. He went for the Orchid instead of a Deso first. So just a strange pickup from the Clinks. But we'll see where he chooses to go. He might just leave it as a raw Void Stone, feeling maybe he needs more mana regen. Shadow Shaman trying for the dust, doesn't actually find the Bounty Hunter. He really wants that level 11 before they push. Hook coming in and missing. So they're actually going to be an engagement here. TA on the hunt. Ogre Magi dies in the background when I miss it. And Budge, my friend, you are dead. LC getting a duel off on Shadow Shaman. He is dead. So this is turning out pretty nicely for the dire side. Only losing their 5 position Ogre Magi, so not too bad for them. Not too bad. He will die every time for a trade like that, especially getting dual damage and kills on your carries, as well as potential Track Gold that may have come out. Let's take a look at our graphs as we follow. Who do we want to follow? Let's follow Legion Commander. Maybe she'll do something exciting. So we can see that fight that just took place. Going to be a quick drop back down in the net worth, heading towards probably 2k gold. And if we look at our experience, actually pretty heavily in favor of the Radiant. Going to go back towards around maybe 5k once that evens out after that last fight. So 1 or 2 more fights, and actually just one good fight, and we can see the Dire totally capitalizing on their on the position in this game. Bounty Hunter went down here. Don't know how that happened. There's a Sentry Ward, of course, right by. Yeah, so we got caught out in mid. TA, Bounty, and Terror Blade. I mean, Terror Blade is not an amazing pick. It's just an interesting pick for 6.85. I don't feel it's like a pub star or anything. But TA's Slark sitting right next to TA, waiting for maybe some backup, and throws out the dust, and TA is just gonna die. Can't do anything there. So Slark doing pretty good. He's got his SNY ready. He's got 2k gold. What could he go for next? Could be a Basher, could be a BKB. We will have to wait and see. I should be more calmer. Calmer is not a word. Calm. I should be more calm. Oh boy. Well, one of these days. Fresh meat? I heard fresh. Oh no, okay. That was a missed Pudge Hook. He's almost level 11. Oh my god, these guys and their all chat, man. This is Pub City. Can I mute them? I can. I'm not going to do it. It adds to the viewing experience, I think, if we really get to see these players' feelings, what they have to say. I think my favorite Pudge item has to be that chainsaw, man. That's so cool. It's not $100 like the Dragon Claw Hook, which I did have at one point. I forget how you get it from the stash or whatever, and it was worth a lot of money. I sold it for like $100. And then I spent that all on Dota items, so it, it's just a vicious cycle, but I did have it at one point. Felt pretty big EPing. So Terrorblade hasn't opted to get anything yet off this ultimate orb. I think based off of trends we've seen lately with different heroes, it will be a Scotty, because stats builds have really been heavy favorite. Lots of damage going on in that illusion. Lots of wards in our dire jungle. These teams fighting for control. We see lots of sentries. We see lots of regular wards as well. And this sentry, I guess, this ward for the Radiant was just placed, and the sentry sees it, but they have not been there to kill that Radiant ward. Slark gets an ultimate orb of his own, while Legion Commander picks up a Assault Cuirass. I think that's one of the best items on LC. She suffers from relatively low armor. She benefits a lot from the attack speed, as well as lowering her dual opponent's attack speed as well. Bounty Hunter caught out by the Slark. He has the mech though, so he's going to stay alive a little bit longer. Will he make it away? Yes. Actually going to turn onto the TA. The Slark decides to back up after being multicasted quite a bit, but he purges it off, and Shadow Shaman just goes right down to the Desolator. So much action happening, but they blow up the TA. They blow up the LC. The Terrorblade doing work over in the back with this newly purchased Scotty, killing 3. He actually is almost going to carry his team through that fight, but Ember and Slark just able to clean up house. Ember with that Battle Fury, and now a Chrysalis doing work onto all those illusions, as well as the heroes, of course, doing tons of damage to the Dire squad. Squad goals: don't get team wiped by 1 Ember Sleight of Fist. So they're going to push this Dire Tier 2. Ember gets tracked out, of course, but he's probably going to be quite aware of that. Slark with the hopeful pounce. I'm not going to get anything. Bounty should be careful, though. Dust with that reduced cooldown makes things a little bit more dangerous. And he's just going to mess around with the Ember, not let him boot to travel easily away. He sees that courier. I don't think he can catch it, though. Yeah, that courier is much faster, without even the speed burst. What is this courier from? Evolve the Animated Construct. I've never seen that before. Very cool looking courier. Then we got the Pudgeling with the gold hook over here. Not that it's relevant to Dota in any way, but you know, still exciting for me, guys. I like it. I like couriers. I'm sorry. At least I don't have a Drow Ranger obsession, you know? So Terrorblade in these fights, he has to be careful where he positions his illusions, because the cleave coming out from the Sleight of Fists of Ember are just going to do too much work. It's going to add so much bonus damage from those cleaves that it could end up killing his team. And he has to be really careful of that. Greave's probably going to come out soon, probably flying out on the bird right now. Yep, for the bounty, so that should make his team a little bit more sustainable if he doesn't die instantly. Pudge, invisible, they get the track on him. So a track and a dual kill coming out. That's a level 3 duel, 74 bonus damage, quite a lot now for LC. So give this 20 more minutes and she could become quite the force. Quite the force. She needs that damage to really become relevant, but she's getting it now, and maybe she will become a wrecking ball. So a Naked Yasha for the TA. Not a Manta just yet, or SNY. She is going to go back for the BKB. I think it's a good choice. Lots of control coming out from the Shadow Shaman, as well as an Orchid coming out from the Clinks. So you don't want to get silenced up in these fights and not be able to use Refraction or Meld to do a lot of your damage. And so she is going to get that BKB. Ogre, I'm sorry, man. Item progression just not going to happen this game for you, my friend. I'm sorry. This is your life. Just wards and dust, sadness. Haven't seen many multicasts come out from him. Of course, he just hit level 11, got that level 2 multicast, but and a Talism of Evasion for LC. Maybe looking to build a Butterfly, maybe looking for a Helvin's Halberd, perhaps not a Medallion of Courage. Why can't I think of the name of the upgraded version of Medallion of Courage? Oh my god. Oh my god. 2.5k hours of Dota knowledge, and I can't even Solar Crest. It is a new item, to be fair. But really. Alright, TA versus Slark up in the mid. Shadow Dance has been popped, so TA cannot target him. A hook back from Pudge. Easy Katka. Easy kills for the Pudge. Dendy coming out. You don't even know. That's Dendy? Slark gets tracked. Of course he can just dispel that. And there he goes. He notices it. Gets rid of it immediately and instantly into the Shadow Blade. They are going to catch out the Dire team if the Dire's not careful. Orchid comes out. Ooh, but a quick blink. Notices the Orchid and instantly blinks away. They go onto the Terror Blade instead. And he's just going to walk away just fine. Just fine. The Radiant pressing into Roshan. They've got quite the squad to take it out. With Shadow Shaman's wards, it should be just no problem at all. They've got a lot of damage from the Ember. He is quite farmed. He is quite farmed now. That Battle Fury amplified his farm really quick. And he's got a Daedalus now. He's got Boots of Travel 2 and 1,200 gold. He is a monster. He's going to do a lot of damage to this Dire team if they get clumped at all with his Battle Fury. Smoke of Deceit coming out. Shadow Shaman 800 away from his Ags. Yeah, interestingly enough, just the Void Stone. Goes back for a Deso and a crit. So we see TA just walk right up. And her Refraction fades. Can we see a hook? No, we're not going to see a hook. But interesting to see that raw Void Stone. I don't know. I don't know about it. But maybe he was going for the sheep and decided to go back. But now after he gets the Daedalus, if he doesn't think he needs a BKB, which it doesn't seem to be the case in these fights, he's not getting stunned by Ogre, which is really the only control the Dire have. That's a big issue for them. He could build that right into a sheep. Sheep LC when she duels, sheep anyone he's picking off, and bring a lot to his team. Mithril Hammer on Terrorblade, probably going to be a BKB. Don't see that being a Desolator, obviously. So, yep, BKB. And the BKB done for TA. Bounty Hunter still with just the Guardian Greaves. Ogre Magi with nada. And LC still just that Talisman of Evasion. And the AC with Blink. And Terrorblade gets his BKB as well. He's been farming decently. With the limited map control they have, he's been getting a decent amount of farm, using his illusions to the full effectiveness. Of course, the Radiant do have a pretty big advantage on them right now with the Roshan. I do expect them to be pushing high ground pretty soon when Shadow Shaman gets his Aghanim Scepter, which, is it flying out right now? Timbotron, that's him. No, he needs the Blade of Alacrity, which he doesn't have just yet. A duel could be coming out. One to Shadow Shaman, gets it before he TP's out, and he's going to go down here for certain. So he gets the D-ward off, but dies and feeds dual damage away. That was not a track kill. Bounty Hunter was too far to get the track. And Bounty Hunter only level 11. That's really low at this point in the game. That's really low. We have 3 level 18s on the Dire and level 11 supports, Ogre and Bounty. 11 on Shadow Shaman. Okay, so to be fair, of course the levels of the carries on the Radiant are much higher, but the supports are about the same. Pudge has a couple extra levels. Lots of dust. But overall, pretty even in terms of supports. But Shadow Shaman has got a decent amount of farm. Bounty, of course, has the money from the tracks. Ogre Magi, though, he's the victim, man. I'm so sorry, man. It's just, I know the feel. I know the feel. Bounty. Is he going to get this courier? Is he going to get it? Oh, he snipes it. Oh, that is, I think, the 3rd courier he's killed. And cargo totaling about 3K over the course of the game that he's killed them. A 2nd Battle Fury now coming out for Ember Spirit. I like this choice over a 2nd crit because those illusions will be coming out for Terrorblade. It also restricts TA's ability to get a Manta style due to the extra hits for Sleight of Fist. So really taking those things into consideration instead of just, I'll just buy a 2nd Daedalus. Monkey King Bar might be needed eventually to kill this LC because he's starting to get evasion up. But as of right now, she's not that tanky. and she's not the major threat. The major threats are the TA and the Terrorblade. So they don't need to worry about the evasion just yet until TB gets a Butterfly, which will probably come later this game. Now that he has that BKB, I expect his next item to be a Butterfly. Could also be a Heart if he's really not feeling tanky, but they're going to need to put out some more damage. TA's damage is starting to fall off a little bit on the carries. Of course, you can easily blow up supports, but that's not going to be enough when they're pushing the high ground. A hook goes out, narrowly misses the bounty, who decides not to react to it. Sometimes that's the best choice, I guess. An interesting choice, or change to Terrorblade I wanted to talk about earlier, but didn't really get a chance to. His illusions now are known as illusions by the enemy. So if you think about Darkseer Wall, it's kind of like that, how you know those are illusions, even though you're not playing on their team. I mean, if they're going to do that, I feel like you could maybe buff them a little bit, because, I mean, Terrorblade, he was so strong when his illusions did a ton of damage to towers. Maybe cut that back a little bit and allow him to kind of, or give him more strength so he can be that team fight hero that Ice Frog seems to want him to be. His skills just seem all over the place. He's got this reflection that's like a team fight ability on a pretty low cooldown of, what is it, it's like 10 seconds? It is 16 seconds, okay. So maybe twice in a fight. You've got Conjure Image, which is a mostly split push ability. You've got Metamorphosis, which is split push and team fight. You need that to team fight. Pretty much an ultimate. And then you've got Sunder, which is like a totally weird, different thing from all his other skills. It doesn't fit at all. So his kit is just, it doesn't make sense to me right now. What Ice Frog and Valve are going for Terrorblade, and I really like the hero. I like the way he looks. I like some of his abilities. I like all of his abilities. I just don't think they mesh as one hero. And I think Sunsfan talked about it. Oh, hold on one second. We have Slark going in. Not going to be able to stop TA from TPing away, so it'll be fine. But Sunsfan and Cinderin talked about it on What the Duck for Moonduck Studios. They talked specifically about having like a clear identity for heroes, and the one they were talking about is Lifestealer. A duel comes out onto the Clinks, and they get that nice duel damage. So you can see LC's damage ramping up, and that evasion, gonna be a factor. Clinks did nothing to her. And they're on the hunt still. I'll get back to my point about hero identity in just a moment. A save from Pudge, they're gonna run away. Shadow Shaman is in the clear. Ember Spirit with the DD could look to wreck with a couple right clicks, but he's actually going toe-to-toe, which is not what you want to do. You want to stay back and use those Sleight of Fist in the best way possible, in the safest way possible. Slark pouncing in, and gets a few right clicks from the bounty, who dies. Sunder coming out onto Slark, though, does a lot of damage to him, but he Shadow Dances, and he's just fine. And Ogre Magi stuns onto Ember. Ember is able to remnant away, though, and the gem goes down onto the deck from the Pudge. So it's a 3-for-3 trade, but Terrorblade and LC live. Slark and Ember live. So all the cores live, excluding TA and Clinks. So one core from each team, and the supports die. But Slark actually going to get dueled now as well from LC. Can he bring down the Slark? Wow, they do. With the help from Terrorblade, they're actually able to bring him down. That was... You saw there, though, Slark himself, he's got a Butterfly now, which we haven't seen just until now. He's hard to kill. They can kill the supporting cast. They can even kill Ember if he's not quick on a Remnant. But Slark, they needed LC and Terrorblade with the duel just bashing on this guy, and they were able to kill him. So Terrorblade might actually have to go for an MKB. There's going to need to be someone who gets that ASAP. Otherwise, it'll just be the Slark show, even if they get him in a duel. So back to what I was thinking about hero identity, and we don't have Roshan just yet. About another minute and a half, I think. So they were talking about Lifestealer, Cinderin and Sunsfan, and they were saying that Lifestealer doesn't have a clear hero identity right now because he's got these like two wonky roles, right? He's got this pre his Infest change, before they changed his ultimate, he was like this very... he was like a kiteable hero, but when he got on you, you were gonna die. He was very good versus other melees, very good versus other strength heroes with high HP pools. That was his purpose. He was really good at that. He could fight other melee carries really well, but he was kiteable. They changed his ultimate, well, they added to it, and let him infest creeps. Okay. Okay, that's a cool little addition to him. It adds a little bit. Now, they've added the ability to also go in Ancients. And it gets to the point where, do you want this hero to be like a creep controller, where he's like in the jungle and he's jumping in creeps and he's doing stuff that way? Or do you want him to be his old self, where he's killing other strong melee heroes, and that's more of his niche? And Dota heroes are really unique from other I'm not gonna say MOBAs, but other action RTS games, in that, oh, hold on one second, we've got a fight brewing right here. We have Ember Spear, Boots traveling in onto the Slark, and Slark gets the pound onto the TA, who pops her BKB and turns back onto the Slark, not doing too much damage. The duel comes out onto the Pudge, but he's going to die instantly, and Klink's trying to finish off the LC, but she's just going ham onto him and uses that Heaven's Halberd to try and finish him off. He's not able to attack her at all, and she actually gets the kill. Bounty Hunter might have put out a track on there at the end, but we did not see. And Slark, Shadow Dance, comes back in. He could definitely get a kill. He's got 70 stacks of Essence Shift, and just going to town, this LC, she can't do anything, but Terrorblade comes in to back him up, and Slark decides to run away. He might have even been able to fight there. I mean, he is just so strong. Attacking so fast, has so much armor, with all those stacks stolen. He's beefy. Ember's still alive as well. We'll see if they choose to engage here, TB. Going for the butterfly. And I missed the dual kill, I believe. Oh, no, it's actually a duel onto Slark. No, if you lose this duel... Oh, the Sunder! The Sunder goes onto the LC, saving her life. They don't win the duel, but they kill the Slark. Big plays from our Terrorblade marking. Very quick thinking, using the Sunder on a teammate in a positive way. A lot of times you'll see Sunder coming out when you're low health on a Terrorblade. He'll Sunder a support and be like, fuck you, go back to base. But here, helps out win the duel, get the kill on the Slark, and Ember died before that, and they didn't even use the duel, which is super surprising to me, and this secures them the Roshan. I think the Radiant are in the driver's seat now. I mean, the Dire are in the driver's seat. They've got a huge advantage. They can definitely push at least 1 or 2 tier 2s. They might even look to go base. Slark, I assume, will have buyback. Yes, Ember should have buyback as well. So they're not going to get high ground, but they should get at least 2 tier 2 towers out of this. Ogre, is he actually going to get anything? He's got 2k gold. Could look for a Blink or an Aghanims or a 4 staff. I think Aghanims is going to be the choice. As far as I've seen, not a lot of BKBs coming out. None on the Radiant. So Ogre Magi with a Aghanim Scepter is going to be crazy, because getting like double multicast, 3x or 4x multis, will lock down a carry for the duration that one of their team can kill them. And Elsie going to get a duel off on the Pudge. Another free, what is that, 18 damage. 164 total added. Sacred Relic as well. Probably going to be a Abyssal Blade. I really hope it's not a Divine Rapier. And they kill the tier 3, but not the Rax. They'll have to back. Buyback coming out from Pudge, who still has nothing, by the way. Absolutely zilch at 50 minutes. Okay, so I like the butterfly on... Oh, Ogre Magi gonna get caught out from a pounce. Silence onto the TB. He could die as well. He does have the Aegis. He pops his BKB, but gonna get dismembered through that. Is he gonna go down here? Oh, no Sunder. He's gonna die twice. That's the Aegis. And yeah, just gonna be controlled down. Nothing he can do. That's pretty bad. He does have a buyback, of course, but not what they wanted to happen. However, the wards are down. They did commit that to kill the TB. I don't think it was necessary, so it's going to slow their push a little bit. But we'll see if TB decides to buy back here. They throw out the Fortify. Elsie actually gets pulled in by the Pudge and just going to die. Just going to die. TA Sideblade's doing quite a bit of damage. Her BKB popped. They can't really touch her at this point. TB buys back into the game. A duel with the buyback from LC. She's going to get it onto the Slark. He dies. And now Pudge and Slark are dead. Klink's also going to go down. Shadow Shaman falls. Ember Spirit could be next to go. It could be a full team wipe with the reflection coming out onto Ember. He doesn't have any remnants from far away. His Boots of Travel are also on cooldown. He's going to get caught out here. Let's watch this chase. A stun comes out from Ogre. Could kill them both. Ooh, but a Sleight of Fist and a Searing Change is going to get the TB really low. A stun goes out onto the Ember. He's feeling bold now. He goes back for the Ogre Magi. Oh, man. And the Sunder goes out. It's not enough. I don't know if TB has the move speed. He actually pops his Flutter. This could actually come into play. No, he gets wrecked by the Sleight of Fist. Oh, but the reflection! The reflection! Oh my god. So the only survivor from that fight is the TA. Huh. Huh. Interesting. No racks go down. Tier 3, of course. So as of right now, things are looking pretty damn even. That was a pretty damn even fight. I think Dire could have won it if their execution at the end had been a little crisper, if everyone had followed the Ember Spirit, or just let him leave. If they'd done it as a team, of course it's a pub, they would have had a much better result there. Now, TA is going to push up mid. Slark has a buyback. Ember has buyback. They haven't used it yet on their cores, so they're okay. Not that she'd push for a Rax at this point anyways. But she could go for a Pudge kill if she's feeling bold. The Butterfly on TA, I understand it. It's good. But I think for her right now, an MKB is the better choice. She can potentially blow up this Slark with the MKB. She can do a ton of damage. We've seen it. But if she misses her Meld Strike on the Slark, they might not be able to kill him. He died in that duel last time because they were really focusing him really well. But I don't think without a good Meld Strike from TA, he's going to die. Don't think it's feasible. And he's actually going to find TA, or TA finds him, rather, and a multicast coming out from Ogre Magi, Bloodlust onto the TA, and Ogre got a blink. He opted for that mobility instead. Gets another multi out onto the Pudge. I'm zooming in and I'm zooming out, and Pudge is slowly going down, but oh, and not too slow anymore. TA gets a meld onto him and a duel onto Klink's. Easy duel damage for the LC. 200 duel damage now stacked up, and an Abyssal Blade. What is she hitting for? Let's do some math. 410. She's hitting for 504 damage. That's some big deeps right there, boys. That's some big deeps. Shadow Shaman just going to get caught out by TA with the gem. This is pretty bad for the Radiant side. Their racks are going to go down. Of course, one rack's down with a double Battle Fury Ember is not the end of the world. And they can't get 2 racks off this, which is key. These tier 2 towers are actually pretty huge to not have fallen at this point. Oh, this squeaky chair. Oh, they're looking to turn back in. LC, feeling bold, blinks in. Abyssal and Slark, but he gets it off with the Dark Pact. And a duel, actually, he gets it onto Ember. Is he gonna... Wow. Instantly just shreds the Ember. But a lot of these misses are going out onto the Slark. That Butterfly doing work, but the rest of his team is dead. Pudge is gonna come back, but he really doesn't offer too much, and they're just gonna go for the GG. Slark gets hooked back. They're going for it. Radiant have a Fortify, but I think they lost. Ember has a buyback, has no buyback. What did he buy? He bought Monkey King Bar. He doesn't have it. That's it. That's GG. Wow. That ended much faster than I expected. Really interesting game, though. Good to see TB's back. Good to see LC dominating. I love both those heroes. Good to see Slark lose. I don't like that hero because he always beats me. But a really good match overall. Shadow Shaman as a hero did some work in that game. Bounty Hunter, not so much. His track gold probably did come into factor as part of their comeback. Radiant was in an advantage for quite some time. But that gem also paid dividends in the end for TA. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this pubcast. If you like it, subscribe for more, and I will see y'all later. Bye.